ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 27, Attack by Chandravega on the city of Puranjan. So, today is a very auspicious day of Nirjala Ekadashi, and very happy Nirjala Ekadashi to everyone. Let's see next Nirjala Ekadashi, what time, what we will be reading. Okay, in 1 year. So, we are at text 6. Tasyam अजनयं पुत्रान् पुरञ्जन्यां पुरञ्जनः शतान्येकादश वीराड् आयुषो अर्धम् आथ्यत्याक्. Translation.
The great says Narad then addressed King Prachina Parishad. O one, whose lifespan is great, Virat. In this way, King Puranjana begot 1100 sons within the womb of his wife, Puranjani. However, in this business, he passed away half of his lifespan. Purport. In this verse, there are several significant words. The first of which are Ekadasha Shatani. Puranjana had begotten 1100 sons within the womb of his wife and thus passed away half of his life. Actually, every man follows a similar process. If one lives for 100 years at the utmost, in his family life, he simply begets children up to the age of 50. Unfortunately, at the present moment, people do not live even 100 years. Nonetheless, they beget children up to the age of 60. Another point is that formerly people used to beget 100 to 200 sons and daughters. As will be evident from the next verse, King Puranjana not only begot 1100 sons but also 110 daughters. At the present moment, no one can produce such huge quantities of children. Instead, mankind is very busy checking the increase of population by contraceptive methods. We do not find in Vedic literatures that they ever used contraceptive methods, although they were begetting hundreds of children. Checking population by contraceptive method is another sinful activity. But in this age of Kali, people have become so sinful that they do not care for the resultant reactions of their sinful lives. King Puranjana lay down with his wife Puranjani and begot a large number of children. And there is no mention in these verses that they used contraceptive methods. According to the Vedic scriptures, the contraceptive method should be restrained in sensual life. It is not that one should indulge in unrestricted sensual life and avoid children by using some method to check pregnancy. If a man is in good consciousness, he consults with his religious wife, and as a result of this consultation with intelligence, one advances in his ability to estimate the value of life. In other words, if one is fortunate enough to have a good, conscientious wife, he can decide by mutual consultation that human life is meant for advancing in Krishna consciousness and not for begetting a large number of children. Children are called parinama. or byproducts. And when one consults his good intelligence, he can see that his byproducts should be the expansion of his Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
So Puranjan, he's saying, "Oh my dear Maharaj Virat." So Virat is being addressed to Prachina Barhishat, one who is having a very long lifespan. So it's a, here our Narad Muni is trolling Prachina Barhishat, okay, giving him a hint that you are Virat here. And he says, this is how he begot 1100 sons in the womb of his wife Puranjani, and thus passed his half the lifespan. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Ekadasha Shatani means 1100 sons, and this is how he passed half of his life. And formerly, Prabhupada says, people used to beget 100, 200 kind of children, and and many children, many sons, and many daughters. And it is very, I mean, what has happened here, Prabhupada mentions here, is people have become more lusty, but there are no children. And that is a huge, the problem. And the artificial methods of checking the pregnancy and children, Prabhupada very elaborately talks about, which people are also discussing nowadays. The most of the world is aging world. If you see the countries like South Korea, Japan, they say Japan will extinct the way they are going. In next 60 to 80 years, there will be no Japan. Right. So on the one hand, young people, have no intention of having children, take the responsibility of the children. And people think, if I just enjoy the sensual life without taking the responsibility of the children, then why to have children? And there are so many families which are like sink families, dink families, so on and so forth. And therefore, having multiple children was considered as a spiritual benediction. And recently, so many people, there is such a big discussion all over India about demographic change. The RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat he very elaborately talked about Hindus having large number of children, so on and so forth. And the whole thing is coming from this paradigm. So what is the paradigm? The paradigm is, I want to enjoy unrestrictedly without any parinama. Parinama in this case, parinama the sensual life is children, but people do not want parinama, and they simply want to use some method and just go on enjoying. And when somebody wants to enjoy without responsibility, what happens is, the way entire Maharashtra is shocked for last 2-3 days. The horrible case of a 20-year-old girl coming from such a good family becoming murderer of 24-year-old boy, right? So this is the danger of avoiding parinama. Text 7. द्रुहितिर्दशोत्तरशतं पितृमातृ यशस्करी शीलो औदार्य गुणोपेतां पौरं जन्या प्रजापते.
Translation: O Prajapati, King Prashina Barahista, in this way King Puranjana also begot 110 daughters. All of these were equally glorified like the father and mother. Their behavior was gentle and they possessed magnanimity and other good qualities. Purport: children begotten under the rules and regulations of the scriptures generally become as good as the father and mother, but children born illegitimately mainly become Varna Sanskara. The Varna Sanskara population is irresponsible to the family, community, and even to themselves. Formerly, the Varna Sanskara population was checked by the observation of the reformatory method called Garbhadana Samskara, a child begetting religious ceremony. In this verse, we find that although King Puranjana had begotten so many children, they were not Varna Sanskara. All of them were good, well-behaved children, and they had good qualities like their father and mother. Even though we may produce many good children, our desire for sex that is beyond the prescribed method is to be considered sinful. Too much experiment of any of the senses, not only sensual, results in sinful activities. Therefore, one has to become a Swami or Goswami at the end of his life. One may beget children up to the age of 50, but after 50, one must stop begetting children and should accept the Vanaprastha order. In this way, he must leave home and then become a sannyasi. A sannyasi's title is Swami or Goswami, which means that he completely refrains from sense enjoyment. One should not accept the sannyasa order whimsically. He must be fully confident that he can restrain his desires for sense gratification. King Puranjana's family life was, of course, very happy. As mentioned in these verses, he begot 1100 sons and 110 daughters. Everyone desires to have more sons than daughters, and since the number of daughters was less than the number of sons, it appears that King Puranjana's family life was very comfortable and pleasing. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So King Puranjan, O Prajapati, where Prajapati is referred to Prachina Bahi, he also begot 110 daughters who were equally glorified like the father and the mother. Their behavior was gentle, they possessed magnanimity, udara, and they had many other good qualities. Pitru Matru Yashaskari. Pitru Matru Yashaskari means children are as glorious as their parents. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that the children begotten under the rules and regulations, which is called as a Garbhadan Samskar, will lead to Pitru Matru Yashaskari, Shila Audarya Gunopeta, and they will have the same Shila, Audarya, magnanimity, and other good qualities, Gunopeta, Pauranjanya Prajapati. Right. So, opposite to this is Varna Sankara. And Varna Sankara is something where Arjuna is also scared of Varna Sankara. He says that, my dear Lord, I will not fight this battle of Kurukshetra because Sankaro, that Kulagnanam Krutischa. He says that there will be population which is Varna Sankara and which is like Kulagna. They will destroy the family traditions, and we can see the classic example of Varna Sankara and Kulagna is the dangerous episode that has just happened. Otherwise, just like a good tree will give good fruits, Phalena Parichayate. Tukaram Maharaj says this very beautifully. Shuddha bija poti, phale rasala gobati, right? So, there is a natural law, that is the nature's law. So similarly, and Prabhupada says there, so the Vedic culture is about having more number of children. And one can have this, and then eventually one can control the senses, take the order of Vanaprastha, and then eventually sannyas. And that sannyas is not for everyone. I mean, we have a very, very handful of sannyasis. And sannyas should not be taken whimsically, Prabhupada writes. It is the spiritual master who comes in the dream in case he is not present physically. And then he will order. This is how, the sannyas is being taken. We can see Srila Prabhupada taking sannyas, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati coming in the dream and instructing that you should take sannyas and everything like that. So this is, so up till Vanaprastha. So Prabhupada, what he says here is, up till 50 is a Grihastha life. After 50, eventually one should start towards retirement. And currently the retirement is around 60, 58, 60, 62. That is the retirement age. And one should retire. And then the remaining energy should be full-fledged used in the service of the Supreme Lord. So that is the important thing. Yeah. So the many different topics are coming up here. Contraceptive and other things. Is anybody has any question? You are most welcome to ask. Text 8. Sapanchala padi putran pitruvam shivivardhanam darai sanyojayamasa duhitru sadrushair varaihi. Translation.
After this, King Puranjana, king of the Panchala country, in order to increase the descendants of his paternal family, married his sons with qualified wives and married his daughters with qualified husbands. Purport. According to the Vedic system, everyone should marry. One has to accept a wife because a wife will produce children, and the children in their turn will offer foodstuffs and funeral ceremonies so that the forefathers, wherever they may live, will be made happy. The offering of oblations in the name of Lord Vishnu is called Pindodak, and it is necessary that the descendants of a family offer Pinda to the forefathers. Not only was Puranjana, the king of Panchala, satisfied in his own sensual life, but he arranged for the sensual life of his 1100 sons and 110 daughters. In this way, one can elevate an aristocratic family to the platform of a dynasty. It is significant in this verse that Puranjana got both sons and daughters married. It is the duty of a father and mother to arrange for the marriage of their sons and daughters. That is the obligation in Vedic society. Sons and daughters should not be allowed freedom to intermingle with the opposite sex unless they are married. This Vedic social organization is very good in that it stops the promulgation of illicit sensual life or Varna Sankara, which appears under different names in this present day. Unfortunately, in this age, although the father and mother are anxious to get their children married, the children refuse to get married by the arrangement of the parents. Consequently, the number of Varna Shankara has increased throughout the world under different names.
So this is how Puranjan and Puranjani, they were very responsible. And to expand the family and the dynasty, they married their sons to the qualified wives and married their daughters to the qualified husbands. Pitru Vamsha Vivardhanam. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Pitru Vamsha Vivardhanam means that according to Vedic system, everyone should marry. Nowadays, there is a pandemic kind of a thing. People just want to stay without marriage. People want to experiment something like that. And of course, there are many considerations when we come to this discussion. But general course of action, pravritti marga, is that person should get married. And we have to encourage our children, we have to encourage our grandchildren to go in this direction. There are many celebrities who remained unmarried, right? We have Lata Mangeshkar and somebody like that. But the personal conditions, the family conditions were completely different. One cannot even imagine, right? So, because of personal family conditions, certain things may have happened in somebody's life, but the people in general, the dynasty, the generations, the people who are coming, the new generations of our families, they should follow the pravritti marga properly, right? They should fit in the general system of varnashram very well. And this is one of the responsibility of the parents. And then having children, so children will in turn will offer the shraddha and the samskaras to the forefathers, antim samskara and ityadi, and thus the forefathers will be relieved of their sinful reactions. And therefore, having children is considered as removing one's pitru runa. Pitru runa is, we know that we are indebted to so many people. Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitrunam na kinkaro. So Devarshi bhutapta bhuta apta nrinam pitrunam. So pitru runa is typically addressed by having a progeny. And therefore having a progeny, that activity itself is called as a garbhadan samskara when it is performed very well, right? And this is how he arranged for the marriage of his sons and daughters. And Prabhupada says, in this way, one can elevate the aristocratic family to the platform of a dynasty. So, in ISKCON, there is one amazing personality, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, her name is Urmila Mataji. And she is a foreigner, she's coming from the Jew background. And she followed this principle so very well. And generation after generations, everybody has become devotees. Her children became devotees. Children of her children, that is her grandchildren, they became devotees. Great grandchildren, they became devotees. And there is a very nice family photograph, where almost like 52 people are there together, right from age 1 to age 80. The Mataji must be around 75, 80, And this family photo, is a very beautiful photo. Everybody is having tilak, everybody is chanting, having bead bag. They are having different attires. It's the Western outfits. But it's a very beautiful photograph of, the family of generations of the devotees, right? So Prabhupada says, in this way, one can elevate an aristocratic family to the platform of a dynasty. And it is the duty of the father and mother to arrange for the marriage of sons and daughters. So it is very important duty, as one has to arrange. And parents should not absolve oneself from this duty. No, jao beta, tumko jo dekhna hai wo dekh lo. Right. Neither children should be beyond the words of the parents. Why? Because children in that particular teenage, they have some very fantastic romanticized idea of everything, including partner, life partner, the marriage, and the post-married life, and this and that, pre-wedding photo shoot, post-wedding photo shoot. I mean, people have just very romanticized ideas. We know this is the same thing when in our teens, or in our marriageable age, we also had some similar fantastic idea. Some pari aayegi, some Rajputra aayega, and something like that. Whereas the parents, they have the seen the world, and they know the realities of the world. So therefore, the parents should properly match the kundali. Okay, matching the kundali, does it lead to 100%? Matching kundali is a Vedic activity. Is the it is highly recommended. If you are anyway doing a guess, why not to do educated guess, right? What is kundali? Kundali is just a educated guess. Very simple words. Educated guess. Is it still a guess? Yeah, karma will come, even after matching a kundali, right? Somebody may give a wrong date. You may have a wrong astrologer. Karma will find its way, good or bad, whatever it is. But still, one has to err on the safer side, and thus follow the Vedic process of matching Kundali and all other things. And then Prabhupada describes here, this is how the Vedic social life is. Otherwise, there will be Varna Sankara. And Varna Sankara is known in different names everywhere. America, Varna Sankara had Prabhupada's time had different names. Some were called as hippies, some were called as Chicago Bulls, some were called as the rebels without a cause, rebel without a cause. That was a group. And Prabhupada said these are all Varna Sankara, who are simply born out of the lusty drunkard weekends, nights, and without any conception of Garbhadan Sanskar. And Garbhadan Sanskar is not just in the Sanatan religion. Okay, something similar is also there in other paths as well. That they have their own versions of this particular thing. Text 9. Putranam cha bhavas putra ekaikascha shatam shatam yairvair pauranjano vamsha panchareshu sameditah. Translation.
Of these many sons, each produced hundreds and hundreds of grandsons. In this way, the whole city of Panchala became overcrowded by these sons and grandsons of King Puranjana. Purport. We must remember that Puranjana is the living entity and the city Panchala is the body. The body is the field of activities for the living entity. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetragya. There are two constituents. One is the living entity, Kshetragya, and the other is the body of the living entity, Kshetra. Any living entity can know that he is covered by the body if he only contemplates the body a little bit. Just with a little contemplation, he can come to understand that the body is his possession. One can understand this by practical experience and by authority of the Shastras. In Bhagavad Gita 2.13, it is said, Dehinosmin yatha dehe, the proprietor of the body, the soul, is within the body. The body is taken as the Panchala Desha, or the field of activities, wherein the living entity can enjoy the senses in their relationship to the five sense objects, namely Gandha, Rasa, Rupa, Sparsha, and Shabda. That is, sense objects made out of earth, water, fire, air, and sky. Within this material world, covered by the material body of subtle and gross matter, every living entity creates actions and reactions, which are herein known categorically as sons and grandsons. There are two kinds of actions and reactions, namely pious and impious. In this way, our material existence become coated by different actions and reactions. In this regard, Srila Narottama Das Thakur states, Karma Kanda Jnana Kanda Kevala Vishera Bhanda Amrita Baliya Yeba Khaya Nana Yoni Sada Phire Kadarya Bhakshana Kare Tara Janma Adha Pate Yaya. Fruitive activities and mental speculations are simply cups of poisons. Whoever drinks them, drinking them to be nectar, must struggle very hard, life after life, in different types of bodies. Such a person eats all kinds of nonsense and becomes condemned by his activities of so-called sense enjoyment.
Yeah, it's a
Thus,
long purport. We'll read in two sections. So here it is, Putranam Chambava Putra, Ekaikam Shatam Shatam. That each one of these Putra, they had hundreds and hundreds of sons. And thus the whole city of Panchal became overcrowded by the sons and the grandsons of King Puranjan. Now, when we are studying the story of King Puranjan, time to time we take the life lessons and time to time we go to allegory also. And here now we are back to allegorical explanation. Puranjana is a living entity, city of the Panchala is the body, and city of the Panchala, there are two constituents, Prabhupada says, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So Kshetra is Panchala, Kshetrajna is Puranjan, right? Kshetrajna, one who is knower of the field, is Puranjan. And this is how every living entity, he is covered by his own body. And Prabhupada said this needs just a little contemplation to understand we are not this body. Right? Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. I see my 2-year-old photograph. I see my 20-year-old photograph. I see my 40-year-old photograph. And I may see my 80-year-old photograph, 100-year-old photograph. And there is nothing common in the photo except the feeling that this is me. Body is completely changed. All sense in the body are changed. That means I am different than the body. And there are so many other explanations. Somebody dies, we say he passed away. Body is still there. What has passed away? Who has passed away? The person has passed away. Right? I mean, there are many, the previous life memories. And there is, there are very respectable professors of medicine who have very elaborately studied about reincarnation. And people claiming someone to be in their previous life, in their manipulated age, between the age of 2 to 5, and verbatim things coming true. There is science of reincarnation. So, for this, the karma, the person receiving karma, okay, it's because of that. That is the proof of reincarnation. So, Prabhupada says, with a little contemplation, one can realize that he is not the body, but he is actually the spirit soul embodied, Kshetrajnam, right? So, body is the Panchala Desh, and he is enjoying with the different senses, the different sense objects. The sense objects are Gandha, Rupa, Rasa, Sparsha, and Shabda. And they are enjoyed by earth, water, fire, air, ether. They are made up of. And this is how the living entity creates hundreds and thousands of actions and reactions, which are here called as sons and grandsons, right? So the body of a living entity is filled with crores and crores of actions and reactions. And all this, what it is doing, all these activities are leading us to another body. Urdhvam gachanti satvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya gunavrittistha, adhav gachanti tamasa. So urdhvam gachanti, these, the activities in the mode of goodness are taking us to the up. Passion is maintaining here. Tamoguna activities are taking on to the subhuman forms. And this is how Nana Yunifire Kardaya Bhakshana Kare. And this is how the living entity, as Narottam Das Thakur says, passes his life after life suffering in this material world. Right. Yeah, please continue. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. So again, very happy Nirjala Ekadashi to everyone. And so one can fast as much as one can, not necessarily the Nirjala.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Uh, just with the context of what is happening in Pune or what we just read about, that good parents generally beget good children.
Yeah.
And the parents take care that it says that parents should take care that the marriage of the children is arranged. Now, here in this case of Raghuvanshi, the children are from good families.
Correct.
And the marriage was also arranged. But then, whatever the children have behaved, I mean, what would we call it? Like, I mean, it's karma, or I mean,
This is effect of association. See, parents may be very good, but parents also have to take care of what kind of association the child is into. Right?
Okay, right.
Yeah, it is very important. Like, I'll tell you, who can be a better father than the Supreme Lord, Varahadev? Who can be better mother than Bhumi Devi, Prithvi Mata? And what an ideal parentage it is, right? And the son
Right.
became Narakasur, right? Finally, the Narakasur was killed by the Supreme Lord. So
Right.
simply good parentage is not enough. That the children have to take the responsibility of good association. Until the time, so one thing is about good association. Another thing is about offering the facilities which children cannot handle. Many times, this is the big problem with the rich class. The problem is that they are not able to give direction to their children. They are not able to generate, because see what happens is, if you simply think of, if the person who is
Right.
industrialist, if he simply thinks of his own life, then what happens is that he already has everything. People, we may wonder for one house, two house, farmhouse. People have dozens of projects. Forget houses, right? And if
Correct.
they are not able to instill a sense of responsibility, achievement, contribution to the society, then just the child just become the spoiled brat. Okay. So
Right.
previously also it was one Agrawal, that Porsche case. So he
Yes,
was just
yes,
simply
yes.
Pune case only. Okay, simply fully drunk
Okay.
and driving, and parents were doing? The parents were trying to change the blood sample so that the child will be proven he was
Save.
not drunk, right?
Right.
And now everybody is in the soup. And if you follow up the news, when this fellow Vishal Agrawal, incidentally,
Sure.
this Ketan Agrawal who just got killed 2 days back, his father's name is also Vishal Agrawal, but this
Oh,
Vishal Agrawal
different.
is different. Yeah. So when this Vishal Agrawal, who was in the jail for 2.5, 3 years, kind of a thing, when he got a bail, there is a huge celebration they did. That
Right. Which
he's
had become
out
viral.
from the.
Right.
Has become viral, and
Right.
now they said that this is, and again he may go back to jail. So where
Mm-hmm.
we are going? I mean, what happens is money. As I mean, on thousand things we disagree with Mahatma Gandhi, but Mahatma Gandhi used to say that the industrialists, they are just the trustees of the money of the society. One has to work with that kind of consciousness.
Correct.
But Kali Yuga, everything becomes topsy-turvy. Kali Yuga is a very dangerous age. So parents may sometimes think also that why to earn money if child is going to become spoiled brat like that, right? Whereas the money earning is important, and because of course we may see only one part of earning money, but the other part of earning money is the industrialists
Survival.
are the people who create rozgar who create what is a rozgar
Employment.
employment opportunities in the society. They create, they further the cause. I mean, see, Prabhupada writes, we are in such a stage of Kali Yuga, we cannot, ऐसा समय का पहिया पूरा उल्टा नहीं घुमा सकते. We cannot just,
Right.
I mean, it is impossible to come back to dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So, the Kali Yuga has advanced much. But Prabhupada's words, making the best use of bad bargain, one has to give samskaras. It is very important.
Yes.
Otherwise, so one first thing is one has to earn very well. Of course, we are not commenting anything on anyone. That he's, I mean, suffering is suffering, and it's extreme suffering. We are
Right.
reading the news that the mother of this Ketan Agarwal, she is literally fainting every other minute because
Right.
the son did not want it to go, and she only forced, no, no,
Post.
beta jao, uska birthday hai, jao, usko satao mat, don't trouble her, take care of her. And she
Mhm.
only killed him, and now mother is feeling that she is the cause of the
Guilty.
son's death.
Guilty
And
feeling.
it's a terrible situation. I mean, terrible situation for the family. So we are not discussing about the family, we are very, very sensitive about it. But the point is, the way we earn money, the way we contribute to society, people think only money is the prosperity. No, contribution to the society, having good children, having good samskaras to them, children having some goal in their life, right? Nowadays another problem is, there are good people and they feel that probably what to achieve in life. They have no goal, there is no passion in their life. So when
Mm.
you see some passion in your child, you should encourage, you should say no problem, just go on. You want to
Right.
do career in physics, you want to do career in mathematics, if somebody wants to do career in Kathak, somebody wants to do
Mhm.
career in something, good. I mean, this is next generation. Our generation was like, in Marathi we have a song, भाकरीचा चंद्र शोधण्यात जिंदगी बर्बाद झाली, right? It's a very कष्टकरी
Right.
song. So our jindagi was, roti kapda makan, and
Right.
we have worked hard enough that one generation, they should responsibly uh, follow, pursue the goals in their life. They should have real self discovery. Even on the career platform is happening to this generation. In my case, my daughter, in that case, in somebody's case it may be, like somebody's case maybe they themselves, because parents have done very well in their life and children can
Right.
pursue their own career. So career
Mhm.
is not just about money. Career is not just about, it is about engaging one's psychophysical nature very well.
Right.
Right. So this is the basis of Varnashram. Basis of Varnashram is engaging psychophysical nature in very well, and while doing so, offering those activities to the Supreme Lord. Then it becomes Nishkam Karma Yoga. First it
Right.
is Karma Yoga. पहले कर्म करो. Then make it Nishkam, then
Come,
make
correct.
it Sakam Karma Yoga. You are attached to the activity and offering the results of activities to the Supreme Lord.
To the law.
Then slowly it becomes Nishkam Karma Yoga. That, and then one starts taking more interest in spiritual activities. And then it is, and while doing so, it becomes Bhakti
म्हणजे
Yoga.
तुझे ते दाताची
Because it is
वाटी
connection with the Supreme Lord.
घ्यायला पाहिजे
Right.
पूर्ण.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this is very important. If we miss any of these steps, then, there is going to be accident. There is going to
Chaos.
be accident. Yeah, there is going to be some kind of chaos. And Kali Yuga is filled with
Chaotic.
such chaos. Padam padam yat vipadam natesha. And
Yes.
therefore, the Srila Prabhupada gave this direct bhakti yoga process, that how many chaos you are going to repair and what
Correct.
stage you are going to repair. Prabhupada was preaching to hippies. Now, what he can repair? People are drunk on LSD, sitting in the class. What you will tell him, that your father did not do Garbhadan Sanskar very properly, therefore you are born like this, and this is your association. Give the intense bhakti yoga, right? That Harinam Sankirtan. And this is
Correct.
how Kali Yuga, the God is also like that Kali Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, they are also liberating Jagai Madai. So, so although we offer this intense bhakti yoga, but wherever possible, we have to come back to the roots. We have to come back to, the roots of Varnashram, roots of understanding
Sanskar.
psychophysical nature, roots of understanding, contribution to society. Another
Yes.
pandemic in the devotee community is somehow or other I want to earn money and, become full time. ऐसे
Oh,
full time नहीं बनते. Yeah, you cannot become
Barabar.
full time like that. You may have money, but you may not have engagement. You may have engagement, but
But not money.
how you will get the taste in that engagement, right? So I mean, we cannot simplify the retirement is equal to some 5 CR corpus. No, you need, so that engagement, contribution to society, engaging one's psychophysical nature very well, the progressive advancement in bhakti yoga, all this goes hand in, and age also.
Right.
All this goes hand in hand, and then we pray that let there be no accident, my dear Lord. Right?
Right. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Sorry
Hare
for
Krishna.
taking time also.
No, no. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Very
you.
good
Hare
question.
Krishna,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Hare
everyone. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Pranam.